Section 31 is a problematic but necessary part of Star Trek. Section 31 is a problematic but necessary part of Star Trek, which I believe Star Trek Section 31 will make clear. Directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi and written by Craig Sweeney, Star Trek Section 31 premieres Friday, January 24, 2025 on Paramount+. Star Trek Section 31 is the first new Star Trek movie in 9 years, and it's the first Star Trek movie made for streaming on Paramount+. Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh reprises her iconic anti-heroine, Emperor Philippa Georgiou from Star Trek Discovery, to lead a new team of Black Ops agents in Star Trek Section 31. Introduced in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Section 31 was controversial from its inception. Section 31 is an underground division charged with protecting the United Federation of Planets by any means necessary. Even in the murkier and morally gray DS9, Section 31 always felt like a black mark on Gene Roddenberry's utopian vision of Star Trek. Yet Section 31 was also an intriguing idea that didn't go away. Section 31 returned in Star Trek Enterprise, were outright villains in Star Trek Into Darkness, and gained a new life in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, where Emperor Georgiou joined the agency. But did Star Trek ever need Section 31 or a Star Trek Section 31 movie? I agree with Rob Kaczynski's views about Section 31. Section 31 has been part of Star Trek for over 25 years in several incarnations, the latest being Star Trek Section 31. The argument of whether Section 31 should even exist is moot. Section 31 is canon and now indelibly woven into Star Trek. But I was intrigued by Star Trek Section 31 actor Rob Kaczynski's comments at New York Comic Con. A Star Trek fan himself who initially rejected the very idea of Section 31, Kaczynski explained why he signed on to the new Star Trek movie, and why he now believes the Federation can't exist without Section 31. Read Rob's quote. As reported by Trek Movie, when the idea of a Section 31 movie first appeared, I was like, nah. We all hate the idea of Section 31. Nobody wants Section 31 to exist, even when it appeared with Will Sadler. We were presented with a universe where we had moved beyond the need for Section 31. That was the whole point, that we had finally transcended all the things that are holding us down today and evolved to a point where Section 31 didn't exist. And then Deep Space Nine happened, and in the pale moonlight, Sisko says my favorite line in Star Trek. He says, "It's easy to be a saint in paradise." When you expand the universe into something more realistic, the simple truth of the matter is, the Federation can only exist if a Section 31 exists. Now what we can do is we can take it from being a nefarious organization to humanizing it and actually showing the need for it. To showing on the frontier where the Federation doesn't already exist, there is the need for somebody to roll up their sleeves and live in the gray areas. So the pushback that I always felt, and I always saw for Section 31 even existing, that's what we're actually trying to make here. We're trying to show that in the extended Star Trek universe, actually Section 31 is an integral part of it, as the Federation in its entirety is. And I think that that idea of what we're doing, of expanding the morality and the extended universe of Star Trek, I think that's what you're really going to love. In the vast universe of Star Trek, where Federation values like exploration, diplomacy, and peace reign supreme, Section 31 stands out as an anomaly, a shadowy Black Ops organization working behind the scenes to protect the Federation. Officially non-existent, this clandestine branch operates outside the bounds of Starfleet's oversight, utilizing morally questionable tactics such as espionage, assassination, and covert manipulation. For many fans, Section 31 seems like a contradiction to the utopian ideals Star Trek champions. But upon deeper reflection, it becomes clear that while Section May 31st be problematic, it is also a necessary component of the Federation's survival in an imperfect galaxy. At first glance, Section 31 seems antithetical to everything Star Trek stands for. Since the original series aired in the 1960s, Star Trek has depicted a future where humanity has largely transcended war, poverty, and discrimination, united under the banner of the United Federation of Planets. The Federation itself is a symbol of optimism, seeking to peacefully coexist with its neighbors, guided by principles such as the Prime Directive and cooperation. Yet, Section 31 disregards these principles for what it claims to be the greater good, operating from the shadows to manipulate political outcomes and neutralize threats before they emerge. The moral dilemmas raised by Section 31 represent the tension between ideals and pragmatism. In theory, the Federation is a near utopia. However, as much as Star Trek presents this future as aspirational, the show also acknowledges that external threats like the Dominion, Klingons, and Romulans often challenge the Federation's peaceful approach. Section 31 steps in where diplomacy and traditional Starfleet operations fall short. By neutralizing threats covertly, it enables the Federation to uphold its image of being a peaceful, principled organization. In a sense, Section 31's very existence allows the Federation to remain idealistic in the public eye. Consider the Dominion War in Deep Space Nine, where Section 31 played a pivotal role. The Dominion, a highly advanced and authoritarian power, posed an existential threat to the Federation. Facing an enemy like the Dominion meant that traditional strategies, such as peace negotiations, were futile. Section 31's covert actions, particularly their attempt to wipe out the Founders with a genetically engineered virus, were deeply unethical and controversial. Yet it can be argued that without such measures, the Federation might not have survived. In such moments, the lines between right and wrong become blurred, raising the question, can the Federation afford to remain purely idealistic in a galaxy full of threats? This is where the necessity of Section 31 becomes clear. In a universe where diplomacy and reason don't always win, it provides the Federation with the means to protect itself against existential threats that cannot be defeated by traditional methods. It's a moral compromise and necessary evil. Through Section 31, Star Trek acknowledges that maintaining an ideal society sometimes requires making difficult decisions that go against the very ideals it stands for. However, the existence of Section 31 also introduces profound ethical concerns. The organization operates without accountability, and its actions are hidden from both the public and the government. This lack of oversight creates the potential for abuse of power, something that Star Trek frequently highlights. For example, in Star Trek Into Darkness, Section 31 is depicted as having gone rogue under the leadership of Admiral Marcus, who manipulates the crew of the Enterprise into reigniting conflict with the Klingon Empire. This demonstrates the dangers of unchecked power, particularly when an organization like Section 31 believes itself to be above the law for the sake of security. Moreover, Section 31 challenges the idea of what it means to be part of the Federation. The Federation's strength lies in its values, transparency, cooperation, and peaceful resolution of conflicts. Allowing an organization like Section 31 to exist within the Federation implies that those values are not enough on their own. This undermines the very foundation of what the Federation represents, leaving viewers to question if such moral compromises ultimately tarnish the utopian future Star Trek promises. Despite these concerns, Section 31 also serves an important narrative purpose in the Star Trek universe. It brings complexity and depth to a story that might otherwise be too idealistic. The existence of Section 31 forces both the characters and the audience to confront difficult questions about morality, security, and the cost of maintaining an ideal society. Without Section 31, the Federation might appear too naive or unprepared for the harsh realities of the universe it inhabits. The presence of an organization willing to do whatever it takes highlights the fragility of utopian ideals when confronted with real-world threats. In conclusion, Section 31 is a problematic yet necessary part of the Star Trek universe. It embodies the tension between ideals and pragmatism, reminding viewers that even in the pursuit of a utopian future, hard choices must sometimes be made. While it certainly raises ethical concerns about power, oversight,